Hi, I'm Janet Raftis, Master Energy Healer and Intuitive Guidance Teacher. And on most Tuesdays at 5:15 Eastern Time, I do a little Facebook Live that shares tips and tools and insights for people who are intuitive and sensitive. So today I want to talk about, hey Peggy, I want to talk about your not so ordinary guides. So, and I have addressed spirit guides before in another Facebook Live, and I'll actually link that into the comment section of this one to give you're interested in having some more like background information for spirit guides. But what I really wanted to kind of tune into today is the fact that a lot of times we have the spirit guides who show up like people, or maybe someone who, this would be like the energy of someone who presents as a person. So if we were to see them, they would show us as a person. We may have had past lives with that spirit guide, so forth and so on. Sometimes it might be somebody who has crossed over in this lifetime. Sometimes it might be an angel. So I wanted to go a little deeper and talk about, hey Joanna, some of the spirit guides that are a little out of the ordinary. And I have really seen almost everything, and it really doesn't surprise or shock me anymore. In fact, I think it's really fun. I think I first sort of became aware of it in my own life when I really started recognizing that there were fairies all around me. And I've told this story before, so some of you may have heard it, but I didn't believe in fairies at all. I'll just give an abbreviated version. I just did not. Hey, Susan, I did not believe in fairies at all. I was like, that is stupid. Like, there is no way there are fairies. And then I had this like realization that there were fairies all around me, and that I was really a part of what a lot of us in the metaphysical world call the elemental realm. And since then, I mean, people see fairies around me all the time. Even my partner, who was a total naysayer as well, was like, whatever, this part of her is a little crazy, then actually saw them all around me. And I do believe that the fairies and the elemental realm guides me in a lot of what I do. So I have fairies. I have seen guides that are dragons. I've seen aliens. I've seen spirit animals, which I've talked about in a Facebook Live as well. I've seen trees be guides, and other parts of the natural world. And so I think it's really fun. And typically this happens when the people really have a resonance for that. So, for example, like a lot of people might have like Merlin as a guide, or another type of wizard. That would be another thing, is that somebody really resonates with that realm, and they're really like into like the ideas of magic and mysticism and so forth and so on. So then they might actually have a wizard as a guide, or somebody who is really comfortable with the ideas of of aliens and space and so forth and so on. Like, I mean, Scott essentially chose his extraterrestrial. I don't know that Abe is exactly a guide, but he works as a guide. He comes in and he's with Scott a lot whenever Scott asks him to come in. So yeah, he's a guide. But you know, Scott basically called him in because he was fascinated with the idea of extraterrestrial life, and was curious and open to communicate with an extraterrestrial, and he knew how to do it safely. And so so he actually created that for himself. A lot of times when I see a dragon with a person, it's somebody who's really into like fantasy and that realm, and you know, they get really excited and lit up by the idea of having a dragon as a guide. And these are the people, you know, we all sort of recognize these people, the people who really love that type of literature and that type of movies, and who have, you know, images of dragons around them. It's funny though, because this will happen a lot. If I'm in a session with someone, will have no idea that this person has all of these things, and then I'll just say like, oh my God, I saw a dragon came in, a dragon is your guide, dragon has this information for you. And it immediately resonates with that person. Whereas for somebody who doesn't necessarily maybe resonate with that, would be like, you know, wouldn't even be a thing. It wouldn't even come up for that person. So it's really just kind of this interesting thing where you can kind of start to tune into what each person, if you think about it and you think about what your likes and what your interests are, you can start to sort of even kind of imagine, even if you haven't connected with these other elements of who your spirit team might be, then you can start to kind of connect into, well, where am I really comfortable? What type of things do I really love? I know a lot of people who have guides who actually sort of are living like parallel, in a parallel universe, so to speak, in a parallel realm, that are similar in some ways. Like maybe like one person I'm thinking of in particular has some elven guides who kind of are in a different realm, and but they come over to be with her, and she's actually been in that realm too. So we can start talking about different realms and stuff as well. And sometimes we bring guides from these different experiences. A lot of people have guides from different star systems, especially people who are starseeds, who resonate with the starseed realm. And I'm mentioning a lot of realm stuff here, and I probably need to do a Facebook Live on that information on its own, but there are different realms that people resonate and vibrate to. One of the realms that I'm very connected to is the elemental realm, as I mentioned. You know, some people who are very connected to the mermaid realm. And these people, you kind of notice, like people will tell me I look like a fairy all the time. I also get that I look like an angel. I'm very connected to the angelic realm. So I have like kind of a cross. Scott is really connected to the wizard realm. People who are often like police officers or people who like protect and take care of others are connected to the Knights Paladin realm. So there are a lot of different realms, and as you study it more, you can kind of intuit where you are, and oftentimes people really look like it. Like the one that is the most obvious is our elves. Like you can actually, if you start paying attention to this, and pixies, elves, pixies, right? So you can tell even a woman would have like a pixie haircut and that she will look like a pixie, right? Or somebody who is an elf might actually have kind of pointed ears. And if you start paying attention, you'll start noticing these correlations. It is interesting, isn't it, Bailey? It's a lot of fun. I really love working with the realms because it gives you really a deeper understanding of who you are in the metaphysical plane, on a soul level, because we carry these other experiences in with us. So starseeds, as I was saying, and a famous starseed that you all are probably aware of is David Bowie. And you can kind of look at David Bowie and you could be like, he is from outer space, right? I mean, he even like, a lot of his music was about being a space person. And he has that look, and a lot of starseeds really do have that look. There's something very special about their eyes, and you can notice it in their eyes. And they will have a lot of times guides that are actually like councils. Like a lot of times I'll see like an actual council around a person, and that council will be sometimes just like beams of light, but those beams of light are different spiritual entities, and those beams of light are acting as the council, and it's an intelligent council. Another one that you could kind of would be similar to Abraham, for those of you who follow the channelings of Esther Hicks, the messages of Abraham. That would be an example of like a council, whereas Abraham's not one guide, it's actually a collective of guides that is known as Abraham. So that is, another, just another example. And there are many. So like I said, mermaids are one. Joanna's saying, so I'm drawn to unicorns and mermaids. Would this be a part of my guide team? It's an absolute possibility, Joanna. And this is something that I would encourage you to kind of tune into and check in with. And you have two different realms working here. So you have kind of a cross of realms, because unicorns really belong to the elemental realm. Mermaids have their own realm of being mermaids. And I do see a lot of times those two realms crossing. So it would be really fun for you to kind of tune in and see if those energies are with you. And my intuitive guess is that there are. And also, even if they weren't, let's say, you could just ask to have one of them on your team, because we can always bring in really whoever we want. And that's something that I do a lot. So for example, I have called in at different times. I've called in Merlin to work with me at different times. Duke Scott, yes. Joanna has a small tail, right, Joanna? But it is interesting. You can kind of look at, and I know I'll mention Doreen Virtue, because she really did previous to her shift towards Christianity. She worked a lot with the realms, and she did a lot to identify the different realms and to bring awareness to them, which was an interesting thing, because as soon as I started reading her information, I was like, oh my God, this is really, like, there's really a name for this, because it was something that I was feeling and intuiting, and then to have it brought into sort of a container that I could look at and read about and study was very powerful for me. It was like a resonance of knowingness for me. And so, you can call in whoever you want. So there have been times I've called in Merlin to work with me. There have been times that I've called in unicorns to work with me, whatever it is, and depending on the situation too. So if I'm working with someone and I feel like that person could benefit from the energy of a certain vibration during a healing session, I might call that energy in, and sometimes the person will then choose to keep that energy with them. So you can also really curate your experience here depending on what you feel vibrationally aligned with. So, your guides, your personal counsel, really your team is your team, and you have team members who come in and are supporting you, and some have supported you since birth, but you can change them up if you want. You can bring more in, you can change them out if you want. There are a lot of different things that you can do. I had one client who was working with a lot of different guides, and she really had a shift in her spiritual connection in the way she wanted to work with spirit. And so she, graciously ushered all of the others out and then called in some new guides that she wanted to work with. Kelby says she's been dying to connect with her plant guides. Kelby does have plant guides, which is really amazing. It's so beautiful, and that is something that anything that has life to it has intelligence to it. And so trees are I don't know, for any of you who spend a lot of time in nature or really connect with the nature or the elemental realm, trees have an amazing expanse of wisdom to share with us, as do other plants, and they can be powerful guides. I've only met a few people with tree guides, only 2 people with tree guides that I've been aware of. That's not to say that there aren't more even that I've worked with, but 2 different trees that made themselves known as guides in sessions. And then only one person who had an actual plant, which was Kelby, as one of her guides. And it's really beautiful. And there's a lot, if you're somebody who is really connected to plants, it's entirely possible that you have a few plants on your team as well. Just knowing and moving along on that theme is that, if you're somebody who is really drawn to working with plants, if you're drawn to being an herbalist or to being a farmer or to whatever it is with plants, then you can actually, you can call in them as guides and have them share their power and their truth with you. Joanna says, I feel Reiki energy activate when I'm surrounded by trees and water, and also when I'm in the mountains hiking in Arizona. Yeah, that can happen a lot. There are certain areas too where when I'm physically present in those areas, I feel the Reiki energy light up as well. And that is a vibrational resonance, right? That is your soul body feeling really resonant in that location. And for me, it happens around trees as well, and in certain other places that I've been. Thank you for sharing that, Joanna. That's great. And so does anybody else have any questions? This is kind of it's a fun but different topic. It's for some people it's a little harder to wrap your head around, and that's okay too. If this is seems like crazy to you, that's totally fine too. Like I said earlier, there was a point in my life when I was like, no effing way, that's just ridiculous. I think it was after the fairies that I was like, when I saw the fairies, I was like, I am the only thing limiting my understanding of the universe. I am the only thing getting in my own way of understanding the vast, infinite expanse of the universe, because everything is possible. And when I deny it, then I close myself off to that possibility. Thanks, Joanna. This is so much fun for me to talk about this stuff. Hey, Leah. So does anybody else have any questions or anything that they want to share? I love talking about stuff like this. So I'd love to hear if you have any other experiences or anything. And also, I've been holding on to this. Oh my God, I was going to share it because I flashed it a minute ago. I just got this Cobra Jasper from Mother Earth Crystals, from the Crystal Witch. And it is amazing, y'all. For those of you connected to either animal spirits, or Cobra medicine, or the elemental realm as well, this Jasper is really powerful. I'm loving it. It's so warm and calming. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. And then if this is something that you all want to explore more fully, I have, oh yeah, Scott's seen some people's guides that look like cartoons. Yes, so that could be too. Anything that has intelligence or thought form. And also sometimes things will present themselves in a way that is resonant with the person. So if the person is very resonant with something like cartoons, maybe they love to sketch, or they just like cartoons, or they're an artist of some sort, then that might be how their guides present, or what feels resonant with them. If this is something you want to go into more, Scott and I have another Energy Explorers retreat coming up in July, in which we will be exploring the natural world and different realms and connecting with different energies, everything from the earth to the cosmos, how to connect with, commune, get information, share information, interact with energetically in that way. And I'm super excited for it. It'll be up outside of Asheville again, at Fire Creek Mountain, which we absolutely adore. And I'm really feeling like a really powerful retreat and a lot of fun things to do. And if that doesn't work for you, or if you feel like you need a more beginner step, I have an upcoming in-person, not beginners, introductory. How about that? Because we all have this. We all have this within us. I have an introductory introduction to psychic development. It is actually called Foundations of Psychic Development. That is in Atlanta on June 9th from 10 to 4 in the afternoon. And so, and that's a really fun workshop too. We'll be exploring energy a lot, how to interact with it, how to work with it, how to work with your energy, how to work with the energy of others, how to establish energetic boundaries with others, how to deal with energy vampires, how to tune in, read, and translate the field. So that's going to be a lot of fun, and that's a very interactive workshop as well. So, and I'll put links for those in the comments as well. And I don't see any more questions or comments. So if you guys think of something later, feel free to put it in the comment section, and I will get back to it and answer you. And as always, if you have a topic that you want me to cover, please feel free to share with me. Thank you so much, and have a really wonderful week. Bye.